Danny, brand new season for the women's team and your first full season as manager. Are you looking forward to it? Are you excited to have a full season now with the team?
Yeah, no, look, I think last year coming in was, it was always going to be tough. Um, it's easy watching games from the outside, but then once you're involved and around the team, and there's certain things you want to change, but it's very difficult to change in a particular part of the season. So you kind of need a pre-season like we've had to kind of prepare and right going into the first game of the season, and we've had a long enough pre-season, a long enough break, and we tried to implement certain things last year that we've hoped the girls will take into this season, and for us it's now, we've done all the hard work. The girls have put in the effort. They've been at every training session, not missed, and we've had 3 training sessions a week and Saturday mornings, and they've put in the time and effort, and it's now going into the Shells game. We've done all the preparation. Now it's about believing that you can go there and get a result. I think especially from myself and James, we felt that as a group we've never really had that belief going into it. But I think that comes from a lot of tough games over a couple of years where you've been on the wrong end of some bad results. So it's difficult to believe in that because you can go. I think very for us, like whenever we played Peamount, you could sense it.
Yeah.
And it's about now this year starting to believe in that we're good enough. That we can go to clubs and get results. And then once that belief comes, I think that from a technical aspect, in terms of footballing aspect, that we're more than capable of turning teams over.
Is that something you've had to instill as like a mentality within the squad to go to places like Shelburne now on Saturday, which will be a tough game for the opener, to go up there with confidence, with that belief, as you say, that you're playing for Cork City Football Club, you're playing for a big club, you can go up there and you can win and you can get a result?
Yeah, I think that is difficult, but I think that no one to give you confidence, like no one to give you that to go and do it, and it comes from within. You need to be able to do that yourselves as individuals, and as a coach, like people, there's always going to be people who criticise me about what I do, but I've got to believe in my own ability and what I can do to go and do the right things. And I think we've said that to the girls quite a lot over pre-season. It's about now you've got to believe that you can go there and get a result. You've got to believe that you're good enough to do that, and it comes from them, and they've got to believe that. So we feel we're in a better place than we was last year because a lot of doubt could have come from didn't have a great pre-season last year. Probably wasn't prepared best going into games, and probably wasn't fit enough. And to have them sort of doubts, going into a football match is very difficult to turn up and then believe you're going to win it.
Yeah.
Whereas I think all the preparations have been done, all the hard work's been done. Now it's the mental aspect of it, and we need to be a bit more mentally stronger in games.
Shelburne, as we said, is the opening game. That's away. You're away for the first game. Then you have your first home game the following week against Galway. Back in Turner's Cross again this season. You want the fans to come out. You want the support of the Cork people. We saw Turner's Cross rocking for the men's game a few weeks ago for the opener against Bows. It'd be nice to get as many people out as possible. And I know you've done a lot of initiatives to try and get local clubs to come out and support, and a lot of families and so on as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, we want to start becoming the team that everyone follows. We want to start. We're very strong following on the men's side. Can we do the same on the girls' side of the club? And I think just because you support the men's, we're not two separate clubs. We're one club. So even if you're going to men's games, like show your support for the club by going to the women's games. So we need as many people out there to help. Because having them people in there helping us get through games when kind of games ain't going your way.
Yeah.
It is a little bit tougher. You are playing a stronger opposition. Having that support and backing, not just from what we have now within the club, but from what we have from people outside the club, like the fans, the people that are coming to watch. If we can start to build that, honestly, we'll be a club that will really drive on. And I really feel that we're a club that have we're close to being a really big club on the girls' side, but there's a lot of things that we still need to implement, and we need people there, the support from the public. We've had great support from the local girls' clubs. We've had a lot of people showing goodwill towards sponsorship and stuff like that this year. So there's a really good feeling about it. I'd love to have a game where you had all the commandos out there, all the boys in the shed out there.
Yeah.
I said to them last year, listen, if you all come out for the first game of the season, I'll pay your fines on your flares. But try and get as many. The place needs to be rocking, and I think if we can do that, you're nearly winning the game before you started.
Yeah. I mean, it would be unbelievable, wouldn't it? I mean, if you had a full shed there with the banners and the chants and the whole place going absolutely crazy and cheering on the team, it would be amazing to see, wouldn't it? At a women's game, it'd be brilliant.
It'd be unbelievable, and I think like we're the probably only club that can do that.
Yeah.
You know, we are, like, for me, we got a lot of young fans. We've got a lot of lads who go to games who, you know, probably will have a little bit more freedom as such in the women's game than what they do within the men's game, and I think they can make the place a really, like, a place that's, you know, when teams come to play it, like, they, you know, there's a great atmosphere, and women's football's improved massively. You know, now we need to start getting people in to come and watch games, and I think we can be the club that can drive that on, and I really believe that we can be the ones that can be, you know, not just the best in terms of our social media, but in terms of, you know, having the best crowds on a consistent basis. And if we can do that, the football will take care of itself.
It's a great time for women's football in Ireland, really, and in general, you're looking at the Euros last year, the attention the English team got in England, and then the attention the Irish team got here, the crowd they were getting in Tallaght for the qualifiers and qualifying for the World Cup. So there's going to be a serious buzz later on this year around women's football. It'd be nice to see that momentum come into the League of Ireland, wouldn't it? And people start going to women's clubs games as well as the internationals, and be that at Cork City or be that at Shamrock Rovers or Shelbourne. You'd like to see it right across the league, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, it would have been for the, you know, even for me, I think from a national point of view, like taking the Irish women's team to different places instead of just Dublin, then it lets them, all these younger girls in Cork and these other areas, even, you know, that can see these girls and girls they look up to and actually watch them and get to see them.
Did you see that with the Irish under-21s are coming to Turner's Cross in a while? It'd be nice for the women's team to do the same, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so obviously I was a little bit involved with that because of my job at Photo Island Resort, so that would be staying with me. But I tried with the women's team, but to not much success. But, you know, for me, I think that it's something that you're going into a World Cup. We want to grow the game here. We want to have as many girls seeing them players and having people to look up to. It had made sense to travel around the country and play games, and, you know, then that's where you build a fan base. Like, that's where you'll get people interested in it. And I mean, it's brilliant that the Irish team have done so well. It's amazing. I really hope they continue to grow and keep doing things. I just hope it isn't just for the World Cup and then we stop.
Yeah, like, the hope would be that the World Cup is something that kicks it on and gives it momentum, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that, you know, and when people say, "I'll get behind it because of the World Cup," you're like going, but you should have been getting behind it before the World Cup anyway. So the World Cup is shown the progression, what we've got to so far, and how we're growing. Now we've got more things we need to keep doing, and keep improving, and keep getting better. And I think that, like, for me, that my worry is that people just be like, "Oh well, I watch games in the World Cup, so I watch that." Like, continue to come out. It'll only help the national team continue to qualify for more European Championships, more World Cups, and, you know, from an underage level, we do well with the Ireland teams, and, you know, we need to keep continually growing it consistently all the time, and not just be putting all our eggs in one basket for the World Cup, and then after the World Cup's finished, it's like, I sure would just leave it there.
You look at your squad this season, and you have a few new additions to the squad, obviously, and you're looking around the league, then the standard is pretty good. I mean, Shamrock Rovers are involved this year. That changes the dynamic quite a bit as well. So is it going to be a better standard league this year, I suppose, is what I'm asking?
I think so. I think it's kind of made other clubs have to step up. I think that the way they've kind of recruited Shamrock Rovers may have weakened some sides, but then it's made them have to go out and recruit in other areas to try and make their team stronger. So I think overall it makes the league probably more competitive in terms of there's more teams that can challenge for the top spot. I don't think at the moment it's very difficult to say who's going to go out and win the league and who will be the most dominant, because, you know, I think Wexford have improved. I think Peamount are good. Athlone have improved. Shelbourne have got some players in and improved. I think Rovers, it'd be interesting to see how they do. I think they've recruited well, you know, but it's still, you know, you don't know how they're going to do because the season ain't started. I think ourselves have done well. I think Sligo have recruited well. You know, I think there's teams within the league that are now starting to, you know, invest more money and invest more time in the women's programme. So it's allowing the league to improve and get better.
And that's, again, like, it goes back to the national team, I suppose. The better the league does, the more players might get picked for the national team, and that'll translate into success for the national team. So it's kind of goes around in a circle, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it does. And I think that, you know, if the national team keep achieving and keep doing well, and we can maybe on the league side of things keep improving the quality of players playing within the league, keep improving the standard of the league and the improvements that are being made, then more people will watch it, and then more young girls will want to play it, and more young girls will see a pathway into it and a career in it. There's other things probably we need to do better with in terms of when girls go across from here to England and places like that. Can we is the same rules in place that are on the men's side? They're not. So can we push to get things like that in place so that when them things do happen, that money feeds back down into the grassroots level that can then improve the quality of coaching within and facilities within the grassroots that then pushes everything else forward.
There's been a lot of talk as well then about whether players will be part-time, full-time in the league this season. I know Shamrock Rovers have signed quite a few full-time players. What's your take on that? I mean, there's been a lot of debate about whether they should be paid, they shouldn't be paid. Is it too soon for the League of Ireland? Do the crowds need to come first, or what's your view on it?
I think that when people say should they be paid or shouldn't they be paid, I think that's at the discretion of a club. In terms of can you financially do it? Is it sustainable? And are you willing to lose close to $100,000 in a year? And you win the league in the women's side, you get $12,000.
Yeah.
Right. That for us, that doesn't cover our buses to Dublin.
Yeah.
So to invest the money to go semi-professional or full time, we'd probably need around a $300,000 budget, which is not. It's not financially doable for the women's side of the club, and we need to grow things on the women's side of the club to be able to financially make that sustainable and be able to do it. It's not sustainable in the current climate and where things are at, but we're working towards that, and that's something we'd obviously love to do in the future, but at the moment it's just not doable. The costs for us to run the women's side of the club are a lot, and then to add on $100,000 if you were semi-professional, and you're looking at $300,000 budget if you're professional, you're looking at £500,000 in spend. It's just the money's
it's probably
not
a huge
there.
spend for very little return, then, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that until other things improve, in terms of bigger sponsors coming in to sponsor the women's game, and that money can then be fed down in towards the clubs that can make that more sustainable, I think it's difficult. I think it is. I think, look, Shamrock Rovers obviously well known for doing what they're doing, but that's their choice. If they're happy to do that and it's sustainable for them, then no one can begrudge them doing that, but it's not sustainable for us, so we need to do things in the right way, because I've been at this club a long time, not as a manager but as a player, and I've been through people come in, promise you the world, give you silly money, and then after 6 weeks into a season they're going, well, no, you're not going to win the league, so we got that money ain't there anymore. And for me, I want it to be a case where we, as a club on the girls' side, we can generate our own income, that we can sustain committing to them things, and not be at a place where if in 6 months' time you're paying all this money out that you then can't afford to do it. And then you're putting yourselves under so much strain and pressure, whereas we need to grow the club as a whole to be able to go into doing them sort of things.
And it just seems a much more sustainable and realistic way of doing it and building for the future, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think for me the biggest worry is always, you invest all that money, you're going to want to see something out of that money as a club, and it's a business, it's got to be run like that. So if you invest all that money, you've got to have something back for it, and there's certain things that you're going to probably, if you win a league, you probably want $100,000 to win the league, so that you see some of your investment is coming back, and at the moment it's probably not there, because even if you turn around and was paying a girl money for the semi-professional and professional contracts, can you get that money back if they go and play in England? Probably not, because I don't see a club at the moment paying 30-40 grand for a girl to go there, and until that happens, then it's very difficult to say that the model is there to do that. It is on the men's side, but it's probably not on the women's side yet.
And just, I suppose, finally, Danny, your first full season, it kicks off on Saturday. What's the aims? What are your hopes sort of the season?
Win the league. No, I think that as a club, I think we should always be aiming to finish as high up the league as we possibly can. I think for myself and as a goal is that I want to finish in the top 5. That's the goal for this season. I think we're capable of doing it. I think it'll be difficult. I think it's going to take a lot of hard work. But I think we've got the players there. I think that we need to start now believing that we're good enough to go to a Shelbourne and get a result. You know, going to a Peamount and getting a result. Playing against a Wexford and getting a result. And if we can start to believe in ourselves a bit more as a team, I think we're more than capable of getting to where we need to get to. But look, I, as I said to the girls, I think we're the biggest club in the country, and we need to now start acting like it.
Fingers crossed. Danny, best of luck for the season, and hopefully top 5 at least.
Brilliant, thank you.